Hey, happy whatever day this is because we've agreed it is hot mess whatever day. Okay, what are money blocks? Today's guest, Miriam Ortiz y Pino. Oh, I did it, Miriam. I said it like how I told you earlier. Pino is what she says. Owner of More Than Organized helps entrepreneurs and small business owners get rid of the clutter that keeps them from financial success. Find out how to break free from these limiting mindsets. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat, live stream, and podcast with Anna and Selena. 11 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small businesses build more profitable businesses.
Yes.
You guys, we told you it was going to be hot mess day.
It's not that big of a hot mess.
No.
It's not that big of a hot mess. We're totally prepared for today, but it's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Miriam's fun. She's fun.
Yes.
She has background with her. And anyway, so super excited about today because seriously, money blocks is kind of one of those conversations where you got it, but you don't really talk about it. Like, I feel like, it happens, but you're not like having that, like, hey, Selena, so I have this money block happening right now. Can you help me through it? It's not something that you have like a conversation about normally.
Right.
So let me just ask the caller question really quick first. Okay. So what are money blocks? Do you know what money blocks are? That's what we want you to drop in the comments right now. If you're here listening live, or even if you're catching the replay, let us know. When you started listening to this live stream podcast, are you familiar with what a money block is already?
Yeah, I don't. And I'm so glad Miriam is coming on today to help me understand that. Maybe I do know what it is, but I don't understand the name associated with it. And so now she's going to tie it all together, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay, let me pull up her bio. Again, drop your answer in the chat with what Anna asked, because we just want to know. And I'm sure Miriam's going to want to know all the answers. So, okay, let's bring up the bio. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, so our guest today, Miriam Ortiz y Pino. She is the owner of Simplicity Expert Money Breakthrough Business. Simplicity Expert. She's a breakthrough business coach and more than organized. So she's a certified professional organizer, one of the very first in the world, which is pretty freaking amazing. She's a Simplicity Expert and money breakthrough business coach. She founded More Than Organized in 2001 to create freedom in her own life. She's an entrepreneur, a blogger, a TV show host, and the creator of Streamlined Solution. Miriam works with entrepreneurs and other busy and creative people to craft environments, both internal and external, where you can connect the control you crave and the freedom you desire while building wealth through your organization, through organization. Organizing is more about just being tidy. It's about who and how you want to be. Miriam holds certificates in workplace productivity, residential organizing, courageous coaching method, fire starter session, and desire map facilitator, sacred money archetypes, and money breakthrough business coaching. All right. So I know, seriously, right? I love this combination of organization, internal and external.
Yes.
Being kind of the focus of what Miriam does.
I don't want Miriam to see behind my monitors.
Ignore the mess behind me. Ignore the mess behind me.
You don't see a Jedi mind trick, Miriam. Jedi mind trick. So let's bring her up, Anna. Let's do it.
Here she comes. Hi, Miriam. Yay.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, Miriam, now that you're on screen, Jedi mind trick. You will not see.
Well, nobody's perfect. I have quite a pile going over there because I'm in the middle of a website redesign.
Like you said,
clutter is useful clutter, right? Sometimes clutter is useful clutter because it's where your stuff is and it's just there. And it tells you have a project and you're working hard.
I'm a project person, and then it gets filled in and put away at the end of the project. And then
that's the key. That's the key, right? And Miriam is reeling it back in and going there. Okay, look, we are excited to start today's conversation. So before we start, we have to do our coffee cup selfie. Or water or tea or little. You'll know little possibly.
I know where he went.
Yeah.
Not hearing
Okay, on three, let's see. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, we got to take a
little sip. It's like a cheers.
So welcome to Hot Mess Day.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Navigating through this space with us today for the next half hour. It's it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I feel like this is the start of like the show, right? Like she's all about organizing internally and externally, and we're a disaster a little bit this morning. So it's a good combination to have Miriam come on and recenter us and help us through kind of like what in the world is going on right now.
So let's take a deep breath, shall we?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Oh,
you're
wait.
Right.
I didn't know we get to do that at the end.
Yeah, wait, let's do that again. Yeah. Okay. If I do it, I'm scared my earrings are gonna fall out, my AirPods are gonna fall out, and I feel like that might happen. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, let's do this. All right. Okay, Anna, let's do it.
So
start us off.
Miriam, we brought you on today. When we looked at your intake form, we were like, "Ooh, there's a few directions that we could really go here." But the one thing that really caught our eye was your the information you provided us about money blocks. So Selena says she doesn't know what money blocks are. I kind of feel like we kind of need to start with that question. So if you could do like, what are money blocks, but then flow it into and the most common money blocks you would see in an entrepreneur. We would love to hear the answer to that.
Right. So money blocks are actually unconscious thoughts that float in and out of our brain telling us about how we deal with money, what our relationship with money is. And so it can be little things like thinking there's scarcity. It can be, oh, you don't want to spend on that, or you want to splurge on that. It can be, I don't deserve to make money. It can be, I'm not worthy of making money. Like all those little things that we tell ourselves, and they're just part of our mental model and our unconscious, and we don't really know they're there, but we don't know why we can't hang on to money or make more money, why we're stuck with our money situation. But it turns out it's very connected to all the different relationships we have. So how you do money is how you do everything. And those same thoughts apply to things and people in our lives. And so once you release some money blocks, which tend to be the easiest one to release, the others get better as well. So I love starting with money blocks just because, as you were saying, Anna, they're not really talked about. It's still a little taboo to talk about money, and especially women. And we're a little bit afraid that we're behind the curve. We don't really understand money. Even if we do, there's like all this weird societal pressure that, oh, you don't really need to understand that. But we do. We are about to get all the money in the world. Our fathers and our husbands are going to die before us, and we're going to end up with some money. We better figure out how to do it.
I love that that's your plan right now.
Yeah. But like that's really what old society, right, was. Yeah. You just wait for this inheritance from the male part of your family in some way to continue to support you.
It is a little bit tongue in cheek, but the reality is that is going to happen for a lot of women, and we need to take control of that. And if, we hear the stories all the time of the lottery winners who lose all their money in the first couple of years because they have no concept how to make decisions around money. And they've always been scraping by, and now they have it. And it's like, woohoo, let's spend it. And then it's an afterthought that might not have been the best way to approach that.
So is money blocks then, when we talk about these money blocks, is it lack of education?
No.
Okay.
So dealing with your finances, budgeting, investing, that kind of thing, that is all learned skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everyone can learn that. The money blocks are what you have been programmed with over a long period of time, what's happened to you, your experiences, it's part of your mental model. And so to change that, you have to do a little bit of excavation and a little bit of reprogramming. So awareness is the first key to it. Like, what am I saying? Just catching yourself when you talk about money. What are the words you're actually using?
Yeah.
I,
This is
now I understand. Now I understand the money blocks. And Anna and I have had many kind of conversations. You know, we joke that Anna and my husband are very similar in the way that they think about money, and I'm actually very similar to her and her husband. We probably all need each other because I'm like abundance. It's like no, reel it in. Not always abundance, just
Yeah.
little abundances at a time, right?
Yeah. I grew up with a mom who doesn't necessarily think money grows on trees, but that the world is an abundant place and it will provide. And it was always, you know, kind of near the edge, but it always worked out. And my father, who was very savings oriented but the savings itself would go to causes and people in need and that kind of thing. So we never had a ton growing up. And the cool thing about the money mindset stuff is it doesn't matter what level of income you are. You can have nothing. You can have $1 billion and you will, if you have that block, it's still affecting you in some way.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because I grew up with a mother who was recycling and reusing and canning for the winter and, you know, very much a prepare, plan, have long-term in mind. And there was a bit of a scarcity mindset. I mean, we reused, reduced, and recycled literally everything we had. And it wasn't just because we lived in Oregon, which even though that's, you know, it's a big theme for the Pacific Northwest just in general, but it wasn't just that. It was how she was brought up, right? So I was brought up with that same mindset. And so if there's something I think I can do on my own or I can reuse it or I can, you know, that then I have this problem with then saying, wait, why would I spend to go there where it really could be what, you know, that next profitable thing that would boost me to the next level. And for me, that's like a huge money block, I would say, for me.
Yeah.
People that have that mindset often struggle with investing in themselves and their business because why would I need to do that?
Selena, look at her throwing me into the bus.
Only a best friend can say that, right, Miriam? Only a best friend can like point out their best friend. Okay.
Or a money coach can call it out.
So point like that, Miriam. And no, I joking aside, but yes, go carry on, Miriam.
Yeah. So, you know, there's probably as many money blocks as there are people in the world. You know, they all have their own little unique spin, but there's probably maybe 13 that I hear over and over and over. And most of them come down to the two, which is I'm not worthy or I'm afraid. Maybe both.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And we'll say this, you just made it. So I went to a Tony Robbins event last year in Florida, and he had made a comment during his like keynote, how he was saying, look, whether money just amplifies who you are. Yeah. You know, he's like, so if you're this kind of person when you don't have money, you'll be that same person when you do.
Exactly.
And right. And I just, you totally reminded me of him saying that when you said something earlier. I was like, oh my gosh, Miriam's saying the same thing. Like, you know, but I know I can appreciate how you say it's like either afraid because I mean, I can think of my husband right now with the money blocks and why he does what he does. I exactly know why, you know, and what do you do? Oh, so sorry, sub question coming in. What do you do? How do you help somebody like navigate through that though, so they're not afraid?
It's not a sub question; it's question 2. So it's perfectly timed and perfectly asked. Okay. Look at that.
I thought that I asked it differently, so I thought it was a sub question. But it just marking that, Miriam, marking that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing that just happened, right? We were using the same words, saying basically the same thing, the same concept, the same gist, and yet actually different words. So part of it is communication. How do we communicate about that? And how do we open up and be vulnerable enough to say, I'm struggling with something. This isn't coming together like I thought it would. And so that's part of that awareness. What do I need to do? But it's super important to also get oriented of where you actually are. Separate the truth from the self-talk that makes it's not that you're a failure. It's that you haven't tracked your money well enough or, you know, stuff like that. So how I have people break through is a couple different ways. I'm a I do both sacred money archetypes coaching, and I have a sub thing of that is there's money breakthrough sessions that we can do where it's a 9-step process. I ask a series of questions that get you to the root of where it is, gets you started on breaking through that mindset. And it's awareness, a little bit of exploration of how it got there, and forgiveness, and recreating your money story with an empowering money statement. Because all of the money stuff is really about empowering yourself to be better and do better in the future, not that it's a problem that it's happened in the past. I mean, it might have been, but there's a solution to all of it. So we do that. And it can apply to anyone. You don't have to work with me, but it's the same thing most money coaches do. We got to get oriented. We got to become aware. We got to adjust some behaviors. We got to do some reprogramming of the brain and see where that takes us. Sometimes it's faster than others.
Yeah, this is super interesting because I was just thinking while you're talking, I was thinking about the fact that, like, okay, so when you have these money blocks, you're saying awareness, right? But that can be really hard sometimes because if somebody's not like pointing it out at you, you're like, I have done everything I possibly could, right? And you're not aware that it's actually your own self-limiting belief, maybe, that is what is causing the issues with what you're doing. So like, what are there things you can look for where you can say to yourself, hey, this is a self-limiting belief, as opposed to, I truly have tried what I have and my strategy is not working and I need to redefine what my strategy and maybe even my goals are right now?
Yeah. So there are kind of two pieces of it. There's the mindset itself piece, and there's the practical steps you can do to improve the situation. And to get those to work together in the best way for you is where I rely on the sacred money archetype stuff. So it's kind of a personality test, kind of categorization using archetypal symbology for shortcutting a set of characteristics. And it helps you understand your own patterns to weed through all the stuff that's probably not your situation. It's more of okay, so I'm a ruler maverick. So of course you're going to realize that I'm a little less risk adverse to someone that might be an accumulator and a nurturer. So it helps me avoid having to talk to my clients about those things that don't apply to them right away. We bring them in as needed, but it helps shortcut the situation a lot of the time.
Are these money archetypes something you've come up with in your business, or are they just generally known, or there's like, you can research them just generally?
The set I use, it was developed by Kendall Summerhawk. She's a coach and marketing coach and money mindset coach as well. She's where I've gotten most of my credentials around business coaching.
Wow.
And I was one of her clients when she developed it. So I went through the program several times as a client before I got certified to use it with my clients. And I started using it with my organizing clients because I realized I was looking at piles of stuff and it was relating to the money archetype.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Accumulator. I bet that person's a nurturer. I bet that person's a celebrity. And it was like, oh, what if I incorporate this into the first session with my clients? Is that going to improve the organizing too? And it was like instant. The results are so much faster when we start with that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. No, but I can almost see that just because I visualized my very messy closet right now. And I was like, I'm like, I can see like, okay, because to me, they all equal money, which is why sometimes I can't let go of some of the stuff, even though I'm like, my daughter's like, Mom, do you fit that? Like, she's like, no offense, just, like we can make room in your closet if you're not wearing it. And I'm like,
but I paid good money for it.
Yes. So I can totally see, but that goes back to your statement earlier, right? Like money is everything. Is
how you do it.
Play. Yeah.
That's such a good example, Selena, because that is me, right? Like I will have piles of like things that are really just giveaway. And in my head, I think, oh, I could marketplace this, but honestly, do I have the
The
time
time?
to sit
No.
to take a photo? And if I wasn't working, if I, you know, if I just wanted to make a few bucks on the side here and there, then maybe that would be something I would choose to do, right? But I don't have the time for that. But in my head, and again, going back to how I was raised with a mother that was a recycler, a reuser,
Yep.
you know, that you didn't just get rid of anything until you knew it had no more purpose for you, right?
It
And
already doesn't. If you're willing to sell it, it already has no more purpose for you.
See, and that's a great way to think
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah.
that thought does not come naturally in my brain.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's not part of the muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
So we have to reprogram and do it. So that and broken things don't want to live with you anymore.
Oh.
There's a reason it jumped off the shelf or fell out of your hand.
Okay, look, Miriam, Anna and I talk about this all the time. Our guests say amazing things on the show that need to be on a t-shirt. And one day we're going to create our shop that's going to have, and that is exactly what your t-shirt is going to be. Broken things don't want to live with you.
Yes.
Dash Miriam Ortiz y Pino. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, that was good. And okay. Yeah.
Look, I just wrote it on my sticky.
Right.
It's
See,
going up.
yeah, it's serious, Miriam. It's on a post-it. You know what I mean?
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, because I think if you translate that to business, right? Like if we're translating this mindset to our business and our organization, when you have that fear, like if I make money, it's unsafe, something is unsafe for you, or there's like that hesitation, it really can, I mean, it really will cause issues in being able to become more profitable, to take the chances that you need on that marketing strategy, to reach out to those people because you are worthy and you do have something of value to them, right? Those are all those money mindsets that then filter into your business mindset and will cause you to lack profitability at some point.
Yeah. And there's two things that I see over and over, especially with entrepreneurs. The first is not understanding the difference between owning your business and being an employee. And, you know, it's oh my God, why am I blanking the name? The guy that wrote it's in all the books, the E-Myth, and it's in the
How to Get Rich. No.
Oh my God, the 4 quadrants.
Okay.
Robert Kiyosaki, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's employee, there's freelancer, there's entrepreneur, there's business owner, or however he does his 4 categories. Yeah. And most people, especially women that go out on their own to do things like creative marketing, Etsy shops, all that stuff, they're stuck in that freelance area, which is still, I'm giving you my time for dollars. And I used to be an employee, and this is more than I made it as an employee, so it's enough. And yet, is it? Because have you factored in all the opportunity costs, all the healthcare costs, all the cost of goods sold? Have you figured out all that stuff? Or are you just saying, well, I used to live on that amount, forgetting that you now have a business that has other separate expenses and expectations about where the money goes?
So it's almost like giving yourself permission to raise your value, or to understand what your value is, you know?
Yeah. And understand that you are not the business either. You have to separate yourself from the business. I mean, even when we're a personal brand, I mean, I'm a personal brand, but there is my business expenses and there are my personal expenses. And one of those expenses is my salary. And it has to go over there so I can pay those bills. But everything else is on the business side. And if you're just living the freelancer life, what you're doing is scrambling for the next gig and getting enough money to cover the bills you have this week instead of ever getting to your vision or the mission and tying all that together. So taking just a step back and separating them allows you to see it differently. And then it helps you get over the second money block I see all the time, which is not investing in themselves as a person in the business. So you need to do some investing in the business itself, but you also need to become a leader, become a strategist, become a manager of systems and projects and, all the different hats that we have to wear as entrepreneurs. And you need to invest in that knowledge if you don't have it already, because that's where it goes awry. You're still just being the employee without a boss.
That's so good.
You guys, and this is why it is so important when you are able to invest in a coach like Miriam in her specialty to help you with talking all of that through.
Right.
And it's an important part of incorporating into your business.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Because you can't come. I'm just so sorry, but sometimes you think you can come to that on your own. And maybe you can, but I don't think you give it the full room that it deserves so you can really like see it through. And it just, you don't go on your own sometimes like that,
see our own stuff. And we can understand something intellectually and not really have a way to integrate it into our own behaviors. And so it doesn't actually transform us. It just keeps the status quo. Like, oh yeah, I read about that. It's fine. I get it.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking, Miriam. I think a lot of DIYers, they understand what it is or what's stopping them, but having the tools or the capacity to make the actual changes required to eliminate that thought or that limiting belief or that, self-sabotage kind of activity, that's where people like you come in, where you're able to like help. Okay, what's step one? Let's do step one. Now that that's done, let's move on to that tiny step number 2. So you can start to see the process for getting over those hurdles. Because I do, like in my head, I'm like, I know these things about myself. Does it make me buy that course any faster? No, it does not. Right? I still have to think about it for like 700 years before I'm like, okay, it's worth it. Right.
Yeah. Or you could err the other way, where I do sometimes, may or may not have happened again this year, where I buy too many programs and then I'm like, oh, wait, what just happened? I know my stuff. I don't need these 3, but they sounded fun and the people were nice. And
you and Selena are like twinning it right now.
I know.
Totally
yeah.
Her.
Well, I'll be honest. So that's how we actually got one of our past guests, Dara Sklar, on. I bought her program twice within a 365 day because I forgot. I bought it because I buy so many during the year. So when her ad showed up again, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I see her all the time. I'm going to get it again. And then I was like, well, how come I didn't get it to my email? Send us support. Hey, I didn't get this. And Dara was like, because you bought it like a year ago. And it actually said you completed the course. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did. And I was like, so we had a little fun banter, but
but the other thing Anna just said that's really important is there are small micro steps, incremental actions that get you to transformation. It is not a big, sometimes there's a big aha moment, but then to maintain that aha moment, you have to take all the little incremental steps and then you get exponential results. But it all comes together. And like I said, every time you go to a next level, it can come up again and you got to have a refresher. Like, wait, I don't need to buy another course in that particular arena, maybe in a different arena, but not that one.
Yeah. See, Anna's got to be like, bad, Selena, bad. Like, sit down for a minute.
Don't buy it till you call me.
Yeah, exactly.
I can talk it to have the 2 ends of the spectrum.
It might be why we work so well together, though. Like she said, right? Her husband and I have a very similar mindset in how we spend, and my husband and her have a similar mindset. So we balance each other out in that way, right? Where, but again, it's not even just spending. I mean, this translates, like you translated it to how your home is organized, how your space is clean cluttered or not clean cluttered, how we get rid of items, and then you move it into other aspects of business, how we market. Am I worthy of approaching this group of people? Do I fit into this, like this elite status of whatever's, right? Like, these limiting beliefs, these blocks that we put up, I feel like go across the board especially for entrepreneurs and DIYers. And sometimes we call it imposter syndrome, right? Like sometimes that's the word we use for all of this, but it's more than that.
Yeah. And I think imposter syndrome, for me anyway, is way more tied to my expertise in my field and my stuff versus the fear of being rejected or thought of as a loser or any of those things when you approach someone that you're aspiring to enter their sphere.
Yeah.
It's slightly different, I think. And the limiting money beliefs, easy. I mean, here in New Mexico, we have both the poorest or second poorest state in the country and the highest per capita number of millionaires and PhDs. So it's always, I've lived my whole life with this weird super rich people and super poor people everywhere I go. And the millionaires wear shorts and boots, and the poor people drive fancy cars and try to aspire to be a different thing. So when you start looking at how the behaviors actually reflect the realities, that's where you start going, I don't need to be afraid to see them. I can go up and say hello.
Yeah.
It's all a little.
Oh my gosh. No, I just even watched a TikTok, Miriam, on that very topic of just like, you know, like we're always trying to get there because they're there. They're like, jeans and a 10-year-old sneaker just because. Right. And then here's us going into debt to try to be like that because that, I was like,
the illusion of what success looks like versus defining it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other
you should be wearing or driving or living in or behaving like, right? It's what you think in your head, but it's not necessarily the right path for you specifically if you haven't really thought that through. Interesting.
It's so important. That's the third money belief I was going to mention. Like, what's your own definition of success? You are the business owner now. If you're an entrepreneur, you get to create it. What does it look like for you? It doesn't have to look like what it looks like for me.
Right. Please answer that in the chat, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, head over to our YouTube channel and like leave a comment there. Because I think I would, let's see where we're all at. You know, what is success and how tight it is with the money and where we think we need to be. Right, Miriam? Like,
right.
Even like taking that first step and saying, can you today identify one block you have? Whether it's a money block or another block, but I mean, we were talking about money blocks earlier, but identify just one. Do you know what it is? And like, have you known for a long time? Is it brand new? Did you have that aha moment today? Like, oh, I do that. Oh,
right.
You know,
I guarantee 2/3 of the answers from women are going to be coming from a place of lack.
Yeah,
like afraid of being not independent financially and a fear of not having enough to live without the men in their lives, which is sad to me.
Yeah.
Because we can all make it. We have so much abundance and we can support each other in a different way than just I don't have enough to live. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. If I don't push us toward our toolkit, Miriam, we are going to
chat all day.
I could talk about so many things right now. I mean, we're already over, but it's like, I mean, this again, I love when we get to connect, right, Anna, with people, and it just kind of helps reframe our mind or bring us back to a place that we were talking about, or like, I don't know. So you're doing that for us, Miriam, and we're digging it, you know?
Yes.
So,
okay.
And I'm going to shift us over into here and.
Yeah. So Miriam, tell everyone about the toolkit freebie that you have offered our listening audience today. Tell them what it is and why they want it.
Yeah. So a couple things. It's called the 1-minute mail solution. That doesn't mean it only takes a minute. It means you have to set it up and then it takes about a minute. I found most of my clients were overwhelmed by paper. And yes, there's still a ton of paper in the world. And it comes to us usually through the mail. But the beauty of this system is it'll work for your email too. So if you're fully digital, the same concepts work when applied digitally. It's a simple PDF with a little training thing to help you set up the 5 places that you can put your paper every day. And so many of my clients with their money thing, they're afraid to look at their bills. They're afraid to look at their statements. They're afraid of the things that come in the mail. And so part of it is helping them become aware of what their situation is by actually opening their mail and looking at it.
Oh, that's so good, right? Because sometimes you think it's a bill and then it's not. It's like, we just wanted to tell you we love you. Thanks for being our customer.
Right. Coupon.
Yeah, exactly.
Or worse, it was a check you could have cashed 10 years ago.
Yes. Yes.
I find a check on every single client's desk that hasn't been cashed. Every single one. I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you letting this go?
Yeah.
That's so
oh my gosh.
Okay, so if you're listening, you can always head over to annaandselena.com/blog. That is where our latest and greatest blog for our episode is at. It's going to have all of the links, a replay recording. Everything is going to be right there, easy for you to access and grab. So head to our blog so you can head on over and grab this toolkit from Miriam.
Yeah.
All right. So Miriam, we're going to move on and we're going to have you tell everyone where they can find you if they'd like to connect with you for more amazing organization and money coaching and mindset coaching and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. I run my little mini empire at morethanorganized.net. And actually the new version of the site just went live. There's a couple small tweaks we still have to make over the weekend, but it's up and ready to go. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, which can be fun. There's a variety of lengths of videos you can watch. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, More Than Organized.
Awesome.
I mean, you can't not find her, everybody.
Yeah.
So
there is literally something for everyone going on.
Don't be lame. All right. Don't be lame.
Be sure and connect with our guests on social media. Give them some love. And if you had that aha moment today, tell us what it is and tag them in it, right?
Like, I'd love to know. Carry the conversation longer, deeper. Yeah.
100%. So Miriam, Anna and I are always grateful. Like we've said to you that we love when we get guests on that just kind of like light a fire in us, you know? And so that's what you did today. And I know our listeners are going to like feel that too. Because again, I'm like, I'm going to list my money blocks. They are there, Anna, I promise. There are some money blocks.
I actually do know that. Like, it's funny when we talk about how it applies to other areas of our lives, it's easier to recognize somehow and then reapply it back to profitability and business growth, right?
Yep.
So I think that was maybe my aha moment today was that it really does pervade all the different aspects. It's not just a money block.
Yeah.
It's a mindset that blocks money here, blocks business growth there, blocks of friendship over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's something that goes across all categories of life, I feel like sometimes.
And because I said my closet, now it's Miriam in my closet, like all day long. Like, I'm like, yes, Miriam. Like, I'm just going to talk. My closet now is called Miriam. So I'm just going to talk to my closet and explain all the things. So
there's some blog posts that help you with your closet organizing.
Okay, perfect. Great. As long as it's written by a Miriam, then I will read it. So, yes. Thank you so much for being on here, Anna and I love it, and we loved having you and sharing all the things. And I guess we'll catch you on the internet, or if we're in New Mexico, we're coming to your house.
Yeah, in your freebie, and we'll see everybody else at the next 15-ish minute coffee chat. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Aloha.